G'day and welcome back for more Space Engineers Survival. I'm currently waiting for this drifting pursuant to come because I'd rather not have it turn up to the solar tower or the new solar tower as I do some modifications to it. It's been pointed out to me, and I'm quite grateful that it has, considering I do at times need to think a little bit about the performance of this save, that building conveyor junctions the whole way up the tower is probably not my best idea. Apparently, if I build it with tubes between a couple of junctions, that's a whole lot more efficient. And also, the idea I had of using small grid solar panels to build the solar panels for the tower, although it would allow me to create the arms with a lot more detail, and I kind of like doing that, that will also cause massive problems, because apparently these solar panels will update or like to update their status quite frequently, and if I'm looking at having somewhere up close to 200 small grid solar panels, that could be a problem. And if I do it with large grid ones, it's only 50. So, and I say only 50, given the fact that the solar tower here has only 40. So I'm probably looking more at 60 or 240 of the small grid ones. I did test this in creative. I made a huge solar array with small grid and made it roughly the size of what I was thinking of building here. And I copied and pasted it 4 times. And it was okay for the first 2. It was playable with, you know, regularly dropping sim speed, but recovering up to sim speed of 1 with 3. But once I put the 4th in, the sim speed really almost never got back up to 1. And that was in a copy of this world. So it was with all of the other base that exists here and with the drifting pursuants coming in and everything else that's going on in this world. So given that it's going to be more efficient, and I think I've come up with a design that I would like, I'm actually going to remodel the tower. I'm going to replace all of the conveyor junctions that I can with conveyor tubes, even though it does weaken the tower slightly. I'm also going to go with large grid arms on the solar tower, which is a bit sad, but I'm pretty sure the design I've got in mind will still look right with the rounded central bit of the tower. The other part of the tower design that I'm debating on is whether I try and, like the solar tower here, build... Can we see it from this camera? No, we can't. Build... yeah, sort of. You can kind of make out the stairs there. Whether I build stairs all the way to the top of this one. It would be cool to be able to go all the way up the top of this tower, but because I'm using curved corner blocks, I think the stairs will look a bit weird. So what I'm thinking is this time we'll just live without the stairs. If I had the ladder mod, I would just put a ladder straight up the side of it and it would be perfect. Particularly the way I built this tower, or the new tower, because it's got the rotor for the vertical rotation in the very bottom, you'd actually be able to jump straight on the ladder and walk the entire way up with a single ladder. There'd be no shift, no change like there is in the original tower. So it would actually work out really, really nicely. I don't have that mod in this world though. So we'll just have to imagine that we could have it, I guess. Suppose that's the way we look at it. The downside of waiting for this drifting pursuant is that I am burning daylight, which is not good. I do not want to be burning daylight, but, you know, it's a tough choice to try and put the solar tower in danger or just wait it out. I do have some plans of what we can do at night, and it largely involves building more sandbags. Oh, here we go. Hopefully this is its last run. Alrighty. How well are the new defenses going to work? We've got our sandbags on the ridge here, or our sliding sandbags, drifting sandbags, whatever we end up calling them. Oh, getting nailed by those ones. Oh, and by the base Gatlings. That is a lot of fire going on that thing. Oh, it never stood a chance. Holy moly, that is a lot of traces. And it is down. Alrighty. Let's go get to work on the tower. I think what we'll do is grab ourselves the buttercup and load it up, and then we'll head out there and hopefully get most of it welded up before dark. Oh man, this is so much fun to fly going quickly. It's got pretty decent acceleration considering the mass that it's carrying. I'm actually quite happy with it. In that situation when it doesn't look like it's Dory. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. That is going to be in my head every time I ever fly the Buttercup from now on. Something, 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 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney, something, something. I think the quickest way to replace these junctions with tubes will actually be doing it by hand. Trying to get any sort of grinder in here without risking collapsing the entire structure, yeah, that's not going to happen. So the way I understand it, every time you've got one of these conveyor junctions, it's searching all the time to see whether there's something connected to it, like one of these tubes or another junction. And it has to do that for multiple surfaces, and it doesn't do that all that efficiently. Whereas when you've got a tube, it acts as a single piece, even if you've got a whole bunch of them connected together. So that it only checks the two ends. It doesn't worry about the middle once it's actually connected. I could be wrong on that, but that's how I understand it, and that's why they're so much more efficient. And why it is better to avoid using junctions the whole way up this tower. I don't know from my tests whether it was the conveyor junctions or the solar panels or the horrible combination of both, but if I can do something that doesn't really affect the aesthetics or the overall design that's going to make something more efficient, that's probably a smart thing to do. There we go. That's that fixed. Now let's get in here and weld all this while we've still got some light, and then we'll have a very careful flight back home. I'm hoping I can get in here to weld that rotor, because I probably should have done it right at the start. Might have been a bit of a mistake to leave it. For those of you wondering why, considering I'm supposedly worried about performance, I'm still keeping air tightness on. The main reason is that I want it to be on when I first go to space, and I want it to be on while still being able to use this base and this world from which to explore into space, particularly as I expect that Lucas's drones will smack me back down to the planet in no time at all. So I'm going to need to use this base for the first little bit while I explore space anyway. And that's why, despite having not left the planet, I've left it on, because I want to make sure that performance is decent while air tightness is still enabled. Because if I went to go to space and turned it on and everything slowed to a crawl, that would not be ideal. Just thought of a little idea that might make it a lot easier to see what the heck is going on, because I've actually got access to a large grid here. If I pop a light on top of this, and let's make it the correct color to match with the Buttercup, I can actually get quite a broad range with this light. Because it is a large grid, it should be able to go out to 20 meters. Like so. There we are. Now we can see what the heck's going on. So much better. That means I can weld at night with the Buttercup pretty easily too. There we go. That's been damaged for so long. And I'm probably repairing it so late that it's pointless, because I will have to replace, or at least upgrade it, with the location script anyway. Or the status script, I should say. Still love the effect of that volcano. Especially at night. What's coming in? Nothing that nasty. I mean, the spiteful aggressor kind of is, but they're certainly not drifting pursuance. I think we shall get rid of this. something that's been sitting here for a very long time, but it is really no longer required, since we're now printing off the back of the bin chicken anyway. And I reckon a reasonable use of tonight will be to print off a couple more, to put them above the base, and maybe if we have enough time, we might print out a set to go around the solar tower, just for a little bit of extra security there. Oh wait, it was the nugget, it wasn't the bin chicken. I was looking at the back of this going, where on earth is the projector? Well, the new printer is certainly working out because I managed to print off 8 more sandbags. These first 4 are going to go on the hill just above the base. The ones that I originally placed up there, I think I placed way too spread out. They're the ones that seem to have gotten picked off one by one when the base that we've salvaged was still active. So I want to protect against any further incursions from that direction in a more effective way by putting all of these kind of close to one another. And this will also give me protection on the bridge, so there's a lot of benefits. We do have one up here already, so I reckon we'll reinforce it with another and then place the other 3 just forward of here as well. And it is getting closer to full daylight, so we'll hopefully be able to go out and build some more of the solar panel very soon. Oops, that was a lot closer to the ground than I thought. Now the other 4 I've made, those are for putting around the new solar tower. So if we can get them in position now before daylight, that would be great so that we can maximize our building time during the day. I think initially I might place these in an arc around the side of the tower that's furthest from the base. Hopefully that makes some degree of sense. Ooh. That slammed into the ground a bit harder than I thought it would. I don't want them so far away from the tower that they end up being out of the line of attack of any enemies that might come through. But I also don't want to put them so close that the enemy actually gets shots off on the tower before they ever really get to do anything, these sandbags. So I'm hoping that will be a decent compromise between the two, that sort of range. And that'll give me a decent arc of protection. I'm going to load the butterball up with some power cells so that we can actually create a battery over there. The idea being that then I can put some lights on the tower. And I can also do other little bits and pieces like that, which would be very handy. I've added the large grid rotor heads back onto here. So now I can start with a conveyor junction. Then I'm going to go with tubes the rest of the way out. And I'm thinking I'll go with 7 solar panels on the first row. I've got 6 on the other base, so I'll go with 7 and then see if that's going to be big enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then a junction at the end. Gatling turret on each end. There we go. So that'll be the sort of width, although... Is that wide enough? It feels small for the height of the tower. Maybe we could go wider. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, that looks better. Alright. The idea I have to make this look a little bit more rounded and match up to the center pillar is to start with these armor slopes. I'll build them on 3 sides so that we've got access to the conveyor tube to be able to weld it. And while one... I'll build these just on 3 sides for now because I want to be able to access those conveyor tubes to be able to weld them down. We go with half light armor blocks all the way along to there, back to a slope tip there. And even though these aren't rounded, at a distance, the small slope will probably end up looking rounded enough to match the center tower. Especially since I'm going to add these at each end. And then use the half slab slopes on the rest of the sides where we don't have solar panels. So this is actually creating an attachment point for the solar panels the whole way along, as well as creating an armor sleeve for the conveyor tubes. Let's just grab some more steel so that I can show exactly what I've got in mind for the solar panels. Okay, so that's our armor sleeve. Then, once we put the armor slabs in here, like that, that'll create a nice attachment point for solar panels. And we can show that, because I think I should be able to attach the solar panels to these on their side. Anyway, yep. So the solar panels will be going like this. They'll be occupying the spot where those slabs, the slab slopes are on the other side. Then if we go, may as well lay out the rest of these solar panels while we're here. Keeping an eye on my hydrogens as I am down to my last bottle. Well, it looks like I got the sandbags in roughly the right arc, since that's where the base that I was worried about is located. So there should be the first things hit, which is good. Caught that one. That one wasn't going to get away. Probably wasn't the smartest thing to do to chase after it diving toward the ground, but whatever. It worked. No! Oh man, dropping them all over the place. Need to be more careful with placing them. Okay. That is one enormous solar tower. I think that's even more panels than I'd originally planned. How many is it? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 19, 27, plus 35? 39. Holy moly. So that's 156 panels. Oh, jeez. That's a lot. I probably don't need that many. But it kind of looks impressive. Like, ridiculous. To anyone who thought I made this taller than I needed to, you're absolutely right. But it's done now, so we're just gonna keep it that tall. Oh, geez, the top panel's over 200 meters above the ground. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Oh. So once all this armor plate's welded up, hopefully it'll start making this look like these arms actually belong with this tower, because they'll look a little bit rounded from a distance. It's kind of the best we can do without, as I said before, without way too much of a performance impact from having a stupidly large number of solar panels. Considering even with the large grid, I've probably got a stupidly large amount of solar panels. You might be wondering why I want so much power. The big reason for it is that I've been restricting myself in terms of making flying vehicles or making things that might use up a bit more power than I would like, because I can't generate enough, or I can only generate just enough for my current activities to be comfortable and to slowly accumulate some extra power in the base. I'd like to be able to throw a little bit of caution to the wind when it comes to using ships and vehicles that might use up a bit more power. Plus, the tram line that's going to service this solar tower is actually, hopefully, also going to be able to service the silo as well. So any power that it needs will be coming from this solar tower as well. But if I'm really being honest with myself, I'm pretty much just building it because I wanted to build a bigger solar tower and I wanted to have a reason for the tram. So that's kind of the justification. I thought I would show this little thing, which is all of our active and functional and armed sandbags. Now, the ones that have 14 ammunition, they're the ones that have actually shot. I realize it says last engagement never. That's entirely my fault that it says that. Instead of having the programmable blocks active all the time and having them run every 10 seconds, I set it out to 30 seconds. The trouble with that is the programmable blocks on the sandbags only run each time they're pinged. And if I've got it at 30 seconds, the chance of them getting pinged while they're actually shooting is pretty small. Therefore, they're unlikely to update that last engagement because it would have to happen during that 30-second ping. So if I wanted to see that more reliably, I'd have to make it work more frequently. But we'll leave it like this for now since it's not a big concern of mine. The main one for me is watching this ammo. I want to make sure that it's right. And now back to welding. I've been having some issues with the Buttercup behaving a little bit poorly lately. Every now and then it decides that every time I want to go up, it wants to go backwards, which is not helpful. So I'm going to try and see if the nugget is actually going to be a quicker way of welding the solar panels. As I suspect it might be, with a pair of welders, it may actually work out quicker, which is what I'm hoping. It certainly isn't going to be able to carry as much cargo, but hopefully it'll make up for it with the fact that it's got a pair of welders to weld each piece as it goes. It certainly proves easier to fly. As much as I do love vector thrust, it does create some small challenges with controlling the aircraft in tight spaces. At least when you use a wonky setup like I had on the Buttercup. Alright, I would say this is quicker. The pair of small ship welders is definitely faster than a single large one. Because it was taking so long to get anything done on each of these panels. Yeah. I'm glad I switched over to the nugget. Let's see how much we can get done before that sun hits the horizon. Now I should try and make sure I get some on each side done so that I could start the programmable block earlier. Actually, since I don't really need the power straight away, I should probably build everything before I start setting this thing up to move and make it even harder to weld. And I'm out of solar cells now. So I'm just going to place down the large steel tubes into the rest of these things. They take up a fair bit of space too. Last little job for the night. We've used up every single solar cell. Hey, don't you close on me. We've used up every solar cell that we have manufactured so far, which was about 3,000-ish. I've got another 100 that were manufactured during my last welding trip. But since it's so dark here, I think it might be nice to pop a couple of spotlights at the base of the tower and see just how much they can illuminate what's up there. Whoa, going in a bit fast. Coming in hot, coming in hot. And here you can see an advantage of building the tower as tall as I did, which is we get the cheap power of midnight sun. And down we go. Alright, let's try just a spotlight there, there, there and there. If these aren't quite adequate, I might consider popping some on some rotors to get the precise angle that will look best. But we'll just see how this goes for now. Can I get you with both welders? Yes, I can. There's one. And I'm watching Reggie's point of view, and I think this is going to look pretty sweet. Though what I may want to do is actually line those grills up so that they run lengthwise on the tower for all of the lights. Kind of cool. Let's hop down and head to that battery, and I think we should be able to extend the range of those spotlights a little bit. Yeah. There we go. I think that'll look kind of cool. In purple? Not so much. What about red? No, it looks too evil. I think white is the best option here. There we go. Could make them more intense. I'm not seeing any big changes as I play with the intensity. I will try and link this up with... Uh-oh.
Fuel critical.
No! No! I left... Where's the nugget? Oh, can I get up that high with the remaining... How many? Oh! Dang it, Splitsie, what are you doing? I'm gonna have to... This is not gonna work out easily. I have to climb up to the nugget. Just hope I've got enough plates. Oh, can I reach? Nope, not quite. Now? Oh, yeah! That was stupid. So stupid. Well, on that stupid note, this episode's going to be a bit shorter than usual because the construction of this tower took a long time, but is mostly pretty dull welding stuff. I mean, it's hopefully going to make for quite an impressive time lapse, but not much to talk about when all I'm doing is welding up lots and lots of steel plate and lots of solar panels. Next time, I'm going to work on the bottom of the tower and start prepping for the tram station at this end of things. What my thinking is that I'm going to try and build the tram starting at this end and then go back to the base. Although that might be a really bad idea. Maybe I should start at the other end. I think I can prep the station area at this end a little bit before I go back to the other end to actually build the tram. Yeah. Building the tram at the base makes a lot more sense. So there's that, and plenty more to come. And I'll see you then.